Something is happening in Japan, a change so quiet, so gradual, it almost escapes notice. It's not a dramatic collapse, but a slow, creeping erosion, silently reshaping one of the world's most powerful nations. In Tokyo's towers and Kyoto's quiet streets, an entire way of life is imperceptibly fading. The vibrant energy of Japan's economic miracle has been replaced by a profound stillness, a sense of managed decline. The trains still run on time, the cities remain clean and safe, but beneath this order, a fundamental pillar is crumbling. The promise of endless growth has vanished. For a generation, the economy has stagnated, even shrunk. This economic winter is felt not in numbers, but in the quiet anxieties of its people. Young people settle for temporary jobs, small business owners watch their customers age and disappear. Japan, once a global titan, now drifts in uncertainty. The world once looked to Japan for lessons on building prosperity. Now it looks with unease. The so-called lost decades are more than an economic curiosity. They're a human story woven into the fabric of society. To understand Japan's silent crisis, we must look beyond the numbers and see the invisible forces at play. Sometimes, I wonder if this quiet unraveling is simply the price of stability, or if something deeper is being lost, something we can't quite name. There's no perfect answer, and maybe that's the point. What began as a whisper has become a defining silence, inviting us to listen more closely, and to question what truly endures. The heart of Japan's economic mystery isn't a lack of innovation or effort, it's a problem of people. Japan is shrinking, its population is aging and declining at a rate unseen in history. Every year, there are fewer Japanese citizens than before. This demographic shift is the ghost in the machine, quietly dismantling the engine of growth. Economies thrive on people, workers, consumers, innovators. When the supply of people dwindles, the system falters. Fewer people means fewer workers, fewer customers, and less incentive to invest. Why build for a shrinking market? A smaller workforce must support a growing number of retirees, straining social systems. Deflationary expectations set in, people expect prices and wages to fall, so they delay spending and investment. The world talks about Japan's debt and banking crises, but these are symptoms, not the cause. No economic model is built for permanent demographic decline. Japan is the first major nation to walk this path, an unwilling pioneer in uncharted territory. Japan's crisis didn't begin with a sudden shock, but with quiet choices made decades ago. In the boom years of the 1970s and 80s, Japan was the envy of the world, but as prosperity grew, birth rates fell. Urbanization, higher education, and demanding careers changed lifestyles. Marriage was delayed, family sizes shrank, and the cost of raising children soared. These were personal choices, but their collective impact was monumental. For years, economic momentum masked the demographic shift. Lifetime employment and infrastructure were built on the assumption of endless growth. The falling birth rate was ignored, a distant concern amid rising stock and land prices. But the demographic tide was turning. The post-war baby boomers were aging and younger generations were smaller. The pipeline of new talent and consumers narrowed. By the time the 1980s bubble burst, the demographic weakness was entrenched. The crash revealed cracks, but the real problem was the foundation. Japan awoke from its dream of endless growth to a sobering new reality. The bursting of the bubble in the early 1990s was when the music stopped. Trillions in wealth vanished, exposing a system unprepared for demographic reality. The promise of stable jobs and rising prosperity was suddenly broken. Companies abandoned lifetime employment, turning to temporary and contract workers. This created a divided labor market and deepened social divisions. The younger generation faced economic uncertainty, delaying marriage and children, accelerating demographic decline. Government stimulus propped up zombie companies but failed to address the core issue, a shrinking, insecure workforce. The hope of a return to growth became a mirage. The old promise was gone, replaced by a new fragile reality. Japan's paralysis is rooted in its invisible architecture, a system built for stability, not change. The Keiretsu corporate networks prioritize long-term relationships over competition and innovation. This structure prevents hostile takeovers and layoffs, but also stifles growth. Companies protect the weak but hold back the strong. Politicians and bureaucrats avoid bold reforms, fearing disruption. Change is slow, consensus-driven, and ill-suited to rapid crisis. Powerful lobbies resist reforms that threaten established interests. The system isn't passive, it's actively preserving social stability, even at the cost of growth. Managed decline is chosen over chaotic renewal. It's a deliberate, unspoken trade-off. What's lost isn't ability, but the will to grow. Japan's economy rests on an unspoken social contract, security in exchange for loyalty. In the boom years, this meant lifetime jobs and a stable society. Now the contract protects insiders, older, full-time workers, while outsiders, including the young and women, face insecurity. The system absorbs shocks by sacrificing flexibility at the margins. Massive government debt funds, pensions, and healthcare for the elderly, paid for by a shrinking base of young taxpayers. The political system favors the present and the past, not the future. The elderly are a powerful voting bloc. The young are disengaged. The contract is no longer about shared prosperity, but about managing decline. Those who built the old system are shielded as its foundations crumble. Not everyone loses in Japan's managed decline. There are clear winners. Large corporations, insulated by keiretsu networks and cheap loans, survive without restructuring. Older, tenured workers and retirees enjoy stability, generous pensions, and rising purchasing power. The financial sector, led by the Bank of Japan, props up the system with low interest rates and asset purchases. This life support prevents collapse but blocks real recovery. The very policies causing long-term decline benefit powerful groups in the short term. Any reform threatens their interests, creating a formidable barrier to change. The winners have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo. The cost of their security is paid by others. The system endures, but at the expense of the nation's future. Stability for some means stagnation for all. The price of stability is paid by Japan's future, especially its young people. They face narrowing opportunities, job insecurity, and the burden of supporting an aging society. Ambition is replaced by risk aversion. Innovation is stifled by caution. Young entrepreneurs struggle to find support, while graduates seek safety in stagnant institutions. Economic precarity delays marriage and children, fueling demographic decline. The system creates a vicious cycle. Stagnation feeds decline, and decline ensures stagnation. By protecting the past, Japan sacrifices the adaptability needed for the future. The quiet streets and lack of unrest mask a deeper malaise. It's the silence of a society that has forgotten how to build. The clock has stopped ticking, and the cost is the nation's future. Japan's silent story may soon echo far beyond its shores. Japan's story was once seen as unique, but now it looks like a warning. Aging populations, falling birth rates, and rising debt are spreading across the developed world. The easy growth of the post-war era is gone, replaced by fierce competition and disruption. The temptation to borrow from the future for present stability is universal. Japan's lesson isn't about its specific institutions, but about the choices societies make at the end of easy growth. Stability can harden into stagnation. Systems meant to protect can end up trapping. Change is hard when costs are immediate and benefits are distant. Japan shows that even wealthy, advanced societies can lose momentum and belief in the future. The mystery of the lost decades is a reflection on the fragility of progress. As Japan's summer of growth fades, the world must ask, what happens when ours does too?